Welcome back to Little Steps Live. I'm Natasha, and today we're at the beautiful campus at Shrewsbury International School, Hong Kong. Before we start, I have a few reminders first. We go live every 2 weeks, so if you would like to get a reminder to your phone, then please go to our webpage and then go into our event section. You can see all our upcoming events there. Click on the events that you're really interested in, and we can send you a reminder to your phone. Secondly, we have a weekly newsletter that goes out across all the regions that we cover in Asia, so KL, Jakarta, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and a lot more. This newsletter is jam-packed full of lots of information. It keeps you in the know and on the go. So if you'd like to subscribe, please go to the link in the description section there. And then lastly, we are live. So if you've got any questions, any feedback, or any comments, then we'd love to hear them. So let's begin. So as I said, today we're at Shrewsbury International School, Hong Kong, and we've got a real treat for you. We're doing a live tour of this beautiful campus, and I've got to say it's outstanding. I'm very happy to be here. And we'll be learning a little bit more about Shrewsbury's learning techniques as well. Now, Shrewsbury offers a English national curriculum, and predominantly for the international children with an international background. It offers over 900 places for children aged between 3 and 11. So today we'll go around the classrooms and go around the school. You'll see how it's a very comfortable environment for children to learn in. So let's start. I've got with me Ben Keeling. Welcome, Ben.
Hi, thanks.
We're very happy to have Ben here. He's a founding principal at Shrewsbury, Hong Kong. He was an assistant principal in 2 international schools in Southeast Asia. So he comes with a wide range of knowledge. He's highly respected educationist with specialist experience in primary schools and extensive knowledge of local needs. So Ben, let's start. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Oh, you've built me up quite well.
Yeah, I know.
It's a big introduction.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've lived and worked in Hong Kong for nearly 7 years.
Right.
Live out in Sai Kung, which is about 15 minutes or so that way.
Wow, okay.
Really enjoy life in the region. I live here with my wife. My wife was actually born in Hong Kong, so we have a little bit of a history with the region. Have a young son, 1.5 years old, so still very little. But,
So you're sleeping okay?
Sleeping
Yeah.
reasonably well, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And I say little son, there's nothing little about him, actually. Right. Big and slightly
Chunky.
clumsy, actually.
Okay.
But, yeah, doing all right. For the first 2-ish years with the team here, I was a principal without a school, per se.
Yes, you say,
Was involved in the development design of campus, was involved in the recruitment of staff, the building of the academic team and the non-academic team. We opened to a large group of families at the beginning of our very first academic year in 2018. We're now 1 term into our second academic year here in Chung Kwan O, and things are going really well. We're really happy and
flies,
delighted.
Right?
It does.
When
it
you're
does
having
fly.
fun, time flies. Okay, so for those of you just joined now, we're going to split today's Facebook Live into 3 sections. We're going to have an interview with Principal Ben, and a tour of the school, and an interview with Director of Admissions, Sarah Bowler. Okay, so should we start?
Sure.
Yeah, start again. Can you please briefly introduce the school mission and vision?
Sure. I mean, you mentioned earlier on that we serve an international community. That's a pretty big part of our work here in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is, after all, an international, vibrant place to live and work. We're also a primary school. That's perhaps the most important and credible distinction to make. And most of the benefits, if not all of the benefits of joining us here at Shrewsbury, stem from this idea of primary specialism, and us placing a great deal of faith and emphasis upon the benefits of a safe, nurturing, warm, inclusive community, community in which children are well connected with one another, with their teachers, and indeed the wider Shrewsbury staff team. So we're a primary school, very proudly so. We serve a community of students between the ages of 3 and 11.
Yes.
The campus, the facilities, the staff have all been selected or designed and placed very carefully, discreetly, very intentionally to make sure that we offer the very best experiences for children of a young age.
Right. Okay.
I don't have to worry about IB scores, for example. I don't have to worry about examination seasons or shutting down facility for older students.
Okay.
I only have to worry about, I say only, but my singular and sole purpose and intention is to make sure that our young students receive the very best of care, the very best of attention, the very best opportunities that we can afford.
Yes, okay. So I touched on that you offer the English national curriculum. Why do you think this curriculum will benefit the students in a student in Hong Kong? And is there any special teaching method that you use here at Shrewsbury?
It's interesting. I suppose that the association with the English National Curriculum is not rigid, right. But it is a close affiliation, yes. and it is, again, a conscious choice. In fact, we undertook quite a broad analysis of curriculum available for primary age children before we opted for the English National Programme. The local system in Hong Kong, of course, is very, very academic. It has its own strengths, but it is indeed a very academic programme. The primary section of the IB programme is very child-led, a lot looser. In fact, in some ways, they almost act as the antithesis of one another. Right. The English National Programme sits somewhere along that spectrum, in that it is academically centred. It's an academically rigorous programme of study. It's quite a detailed and cyclical programme of study, i.e. the older you are, the more challenging the objectives become. But equally, it offers breadth and balance. And if we were to look at a close affiliation, you might imagine an independent school in the UK, for example. Yep. Now, the independent system in the UK is most proudly recognised for its breadth of study. So if we think about performing arts, music, physical education, these are very, very highly valued subjects here, in amongst Chinese language provision as well, of course.
Agreed, yeah. So why is early years education important then?
Oh, early years education. Well, I guess all education is important. Early years plays its own role. We offer a pre-primary section, so pre-primary for us starts in EY1. EY2 would then equate to K2 in the local system, so that sort of age. And then we begin primary education, as most international schools do, I believe, at the age of 5 in year 1 here at the school. That pre-primary section, of course, well, in the English National Curriculum terms, or within the terminology used in the UK, are known as foundation years. That's a really appropriate description when you talk about the benefits of that particular section of the school. They form the foundation. Of course, there is some level of academic content split into prime and specific areas. Prime areas centre actually around a child's own self-awareness and ability to connect with others. So when we're looking at setting children up for wider and grander success, not just in primary education, actually not just in secondary or tertiary education, but even in the workplace, an investment in one's ability to connect with other human beings on a very social level, but also to be able to work alongside them, near them, with them, in support of them. These things are so important. So important. And a lot of that work is undertaken in a foundation stage. In fact, we're going to go and visit a little bit later on this afternoon, where we'll see these little people beginning to connect. Connect and fall out, of course, and mistake making and experimenting and all of this being nurtured and encouraged by highly skilled staff that we work with.
Brilliant. We can't wait to see that. So we've looked briefly around the school before the video started, but what is the design concept of the school campus, and any facilities you would like to feature?
Well, we're going to go downstairs today, so we're sitting in the library at the moment. This is a pretty beautiful space in its own right. We've got the viewers won't be able to see everything that surrounds us, but we've got Chung Kwan O right in front of the school. We've got our playground in the mountainside behind us, and the school is situated right on the edge of Chung Kwan O. In fact, slightly cosseted to some degree. 30 minutes from Central, so not exactly a million miles away from the heart of the city. Actually,
it really isn't that far.
But it feels a long way away because of the mountainside. It feels as though we're quite secluded. So we're backs to the mountain, face to the city, on the edge of Chung Kwan O. So we're wonderfully located for that. The campus itself, of course, we sit on government land here. We're a not-for-profit organisation. We share a very close relationship with the government, and we serve the need for international school places in the region. So that brings us back to the aims and the mission of the school. The campus itself is designed around the children themselves. Now, we won't see this today because if you were to head upstairs, we would be more likely to. But as we move through the building, it changes shape. So our early years section on the 3rd floor, we'll go downstairs and see that in a moment. The corridors support a level of independence that's suitable for a 3 or 4 year old, i.e. they furrow and channel the children appropriately. The ceiling height is a little narrower too to help the children feel connected with the building and their surroundings. Very nice. And as you grow through the school, the campus grows with you. And there are various different parts of the building I'm particularly proud of. Of course, I had the very unique privilege of being involved in the design and construct of the campus itself. The library is a lovely space,
yes,
and there are a few other showpiece spaces, but actually the parts of the building I'm most proud of are the spaces that are often in between, because those are the spaces that encourage children to socialise and to connect, sometimes away from the direct control of an adult. So you'll see as we walk around some very generous sort of social spaces, spaces that surround stairwells and spaces between classrooms and spaces for exhibition, for example. Spaces that are, I suppose, not strictly owned by an adult in the same way a classroom might typically be seen, but very much owned by the student body, student community. So it's those sort of incidental spaces. And in terms of a design concept, yes, designed around the children, but also designed to inspire relationship building.
Excellent.
Building relationship, of course, is not just a fine characteristic of early years, but a really important part of primary education as a whole. So in encouraging our children to connect on a regular basis, both under our guide and sometimes by our design, but often incidentally, to encourage the children to bump into one another sometimes, and maybe in the library, maybe a more sort of natural, casual sort of thing.
Yeah, great. Okay. Which school would which school would the students go after they graduate, and how does your school help them? And a little bit more. Any advantage if they want to apply to Shrewsbury School in the UK?
Okay, multi-tiered question.
Yes. If you don't remember, I'll remind
you.
you.
I'll do the last one first. So, is there an advantage in coming here and going on to Shrewsbury School in the UK? Yes, there is. A direct pathway. Incidentally, for families that are semi-transient in the region, as many of our international families are, here for somewhere between 2 and 20 years, often with some control, but not total control over that stay, we do link very neatly into the independent system in the UK. So that's a very natural pathway for us. But I have to say the majority of our students are very likely to remain in Hong Kong. Graduates from last year actually were split 50-50. Half went back to the UK into the independent system, half stayed in Hong Kong. In fact, the children that stayed in Hong Kong, all of them went to different schools. So in answer to the first question that you asked, where do children go? My answer is wherever they would like. We offer
great answer.
we offer a sort of college counselling style program. So if you cast your mind back to university days, finishing your high school study, thinking about going to university, very often you would have sat down and been surrounded by a team of advisors, right? People that had great knowledge and experience and a wealth of opinion, family, child, school. We sit and talk to children about their options. We sit and talk to families about their options. We talk to families about their own experiences in education. We look at academic records, social records, pastoral records. We also think about future pathways for that child. Of course, in Hong Kong, some secondary schools are more likely to lead on to an American university. Others are more likely to lead on to a Hong Kong university or a UK university or an Australian university. So we have to be mindful of at least the medium-term journey of that family. The process for us starts in year 4. So we have a full 3-year programme. In fact, we have a policy on it as well, which I'm sure you'll be delighted to read later. But a policy that talks about secondary school selection. And entitled quite consciously selection, because the power in Hong Kong, of course, has shifted quite significantly over the last 3 or 4 years. Parents now have a choice as to which school they would like to go to. And when it comes to secondary provision, our families, as long as they time things well, as long as they engage well with the programme, have a myriad of options available to them. And I have to say, we're very lucky. Our families are very lucky. Most schools in Hong Kong are really good. So you have a choice of options. Of course, not every school is perfectly matched to every single family in any region of the world. But in Hong Kong, we now have, I think, a very healthy mix of schools for families to engage. There might be every school comes with a certain degree of compromise perhaps for some families, but the idea that you could identify the top 3, 4, 5 things that really matter to you as a family and consciously and actively elect a short list of schools to then engage with and then find places at. So yes, graduation last year was very successful. We've got a slightly larger group of year 6s this year. More of them are due to stay in Hong Kong, incidentally. So we're around about 90% Hong Kong this year. They'll be graduating in June. The range of schools is enormously broad. And actually, it's the range of schools, I think, that validates the programme.
Okay.
If everyone were going to the same school,
Yes.
then that would sort of undermine
Yes.
everything I've just said to
Exactly.
you about individual selection.
Exactly.
But the fact that our students are going on to such a varied range of journeys would suggest perhaps that we've got it right.
Yeah, and it's working.
That it's working,
Yeah.
that we're helping families to find the right school for them, the right school for their child, the right pathway forward.
Great. Okay, and one final question.
Sure.
Can you tell us more about your Chinese? Oh, can you tell us more about the Chinese language program?
Well remembered.
Because I can see some Chinese books, Mandarin books in here. So
So look, actually in the library we've got a big English language section, as you'd expect. We're an English language school predominantly, but we have a very strong Chinese language program, which is reflected in the library. Approximately 15% of our books here are in Chinese or dual language, and that's because roughly 15% of our curriculum is taught in Chinese.
Perfect.
So every child receives Chinese lessons every day. It's a 3-tiered program, so if your child speaks absolutely no Chinese, don't worry, they go into the foundation group. They have a foundation level teacher, they follow a foundation level curriculum, they have foundation level resources. If they come from another school in Hong Kong, they're likely to have at least some Chinese knowledge, so they're likely to head into an intermediate group. If they're native speaking, then they go into the advanced group, and it is mostly native speaking, or at least children from families that have quite a lot of Chinese language at home that tend to populate our advanced level program. But that 3-tiered structure is then applied to every student every day at the school. So we have it's quite a big investment for us, I would say. It's quite an important feature of the school, but it also links very neatly onto that drive for breadth.
Yes.
Because Chinese language, Chinese culture, performance, dance, music, there's a really rich connection there. So if we're a school that values performing arts, dance, music, physical education, and Chinese language, it dovetails so beautifully with those aspirations and aims. Of course we invest in a program that is, as I would describe it, of real, genuine value.
Yes.
Our children learn Chinese, they really do.
That's great.
And they love learning Chinese.
Yes, they do, yeah.
Which you might say is even rarer in some cases. But certainly at this school,
language,
it's a really popular subject of study. If we bump into some students, we'll ask them.
Okay.
But our children love to speak and love to learn Chinese.
We'll give them a bit of a test.
We can quiz them later, can't we? Maybe you rather than me, but yeah, sure.
Probably get scared seeing you. If you just joined us, we've split today's Facebook Live into 3 sections. We just had an interview with Ben Keeling, and now we're going to do a tour of the school and an interview with the Director of Admissions, Sarah Bowler. So let's go.
This is when it gets a bit scary, isn't it? We've got to move.
Yeah, so we're just doing some things a little bit differently today. You coming, Shay? Yeah, okay. Oh,
right, so we'll go this way around the library if you want to follow us round.
So
try not to trip over any furniture.
yes, such an impressive library actually, isn't it? Yes. I could have a nap in here. Hi, kids.
E2 class.
Oh, cool. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. Can we speak some Chinese? No. Whoa. Wow. That was not even scripted. That's amazing. Great.
Okay, on the subject of Chinese, Shirley Tang, our early years Chinese language teacher.
Right, okay.
So
Hello, nice to meet you.
It's a coincidental.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet
I
you.
should say Zhao Shen Hao.
Oh, great.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Very good.
my
That's a
Chinese
good test. We'll stop the Chinese testing now.
Keep
Bye,
going.
kids. Nice to see you.
EY2, incidentally, those children are 4 turning 5.
4 turning
so
5.
that's the sort of window of age.
Brilliant. And going into the nice, spacious library.
Or well, you'll see just opposite as well, while we're here,
Yes.
design studio and art studio. So there's 2 spaces there, design and art. One of them has pastels, one of them has a 3D printer.
Amazing.
There's a sort of distinction for you.
Could I come and do some work here?
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
We're downstairs
Yes.
today.
So we're just heading down the stairs.
So downstairs is into the pre-primary section. So upstairs to the primary school. The library is located on the same floor as year 1 and year 2, of course, because children at 5 and 6 start to engage with text more independently.
Okay.
So the library is there as most immediate access, but we're heading into the pre-primary section this afternoon.
Sorry, Ben. Don't leave me.
Sorry. So here we are, early years section.
Brilliant.
We've got the gymnastics centre below us, but we'll go and have a look at the gymnastics centre a little bit later. And we'll go down into EY2 next. So the children in EY2 are the same age as the ones we've just seen. So 4 turning 5, I should say.
Cool.
There you go.
Thank you.
If you'd like to follow me, and then I'll...
Okay, yeah. Wow, it's a beautiful space here, honestly. Really big and spacious.
You'll see I was talking earlier on in the library about those shared spaces, so
Yes.
central spaces that I suppose technically there's no designated purpose for other than student ownership and development of student relationships. Actually, this is a very good example. So we've got one class at least partly occupying this central space,
Right.
typically described as a corridor, I suppose, in most schools.
Yeah.
And then we've got another class here on the right that we can go into because they've actually peeled back the
Oh,
doors this
wow.
afternoon.
Thank you. Are you sure? Let's go for it, yeah?
We can always try.
Mind all the artwork.
So,
Wow.
EY2 class. This is our teacher here, Katie Baldwin, and teaching assistant. So we've got 2 adults in a class. Class sizes of around about 20 students, with an outside maximum capacity of 24.
And it doesn't even feel like there's 20 in here, right? Really spacious.
Or can I have?
And how old are these children?
They are. While I take a lick of my imaginary ice cream cone, 4 turning 5. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you. 4 turning 5, amazing. Wow.
Now, of course, it's Christmas period. It's
Yes.
quite a festive season at the moment, so you'll notice probably a few Christmassy bits and pieces. We're heading down to the auditorium in a little while, where rehearsals for Christmas concert are taking place. But we've also got, Harry, goodness me.
In this fire truck, amazing.
Good for you.
Yeah. Getting dressed up as Santa, I see. Yeah. Great, thank you.
So then we've got our early years classes here, some supported by an adult, some working independently, of course, a couple of little ones coming to say hello.
Say hello?
Yeah, come and say hello.
Say hello, come on. Hi.
Come and say hello.
Hello.
What's your favourite thing about school?
The train track.
The train track.
Wow.
Good answer.
Great answer, well done. You're going to get a prize later.
So we've got on our early years floor, again, if we'll continue to spiral down and see a little bit, OCL, my goodness. We'll see.
They
a
love
little
saying hi to you, don't they?
They do.
Hello.
Well, watch out, clean that up later.
Oh, thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Katie.
Thank you. Okay,
So
well,
from early years, we're going to spiral down.
Okay.
Also on this floor, because of course, cajoling 3 and 4 and 5-year-old children together en masse can be quite time consuming.
Right.
So the vast majority of the facilities that our younger children need are all located on this floor. So while we have a dining hall downstairs, the little ones actually eat up here. Table service
Yes.
rather than canteen service
Yes.
downstairs.
yes.
We've got indoor and outdoor play facilities on this floor so that the youngest children, I suppose the slowest to move,
Yeah.
don't have to burden themselves with stairs or long journeys. And they're also closest to the specialist facility that we're about to explore.
Brilliant.
So we'll head on along and down.
Yes, no.
EY1 at the end there. So those children, actually, we can't go down there because they're napping. So they're 3 turning 4, and this is their window for nap. Sorry.
Space to
So we
nap in,
can't-
amazing. I'm going to drop mine off here. And just ahead of Ben, you can see that's the dining room there.
So this is a dining section for the early years children. So this is the table service section. Our catering facility kitchen is all downstairs. Food is always cooked fresh on campus, served hot, and then delivered upstairs. Sort of table service.
Can I get
style.
some food?
You're about half an hour too late, but you're very welcome any time.
All right. I get a bit hungry. Yeah.
And then we're going down now. So we're on the 3rd floor. We're now going down to 2nd, where we'll see a bit of our specialist facility, hopefully neatly located for the littlest students, ideally. So on this floor, various different music facilities. We have a recital hall. We also have a dance studio and a drama studio. We have individual music practice rooms. So if your child, for example, wanted to learn how to play the piano, you'd want a one-to-one session. We also have music classrooms, a dining hall, and as we'll see now, a gymnastics centre.
Yes, this is one of my favourite rooms, actually. It's so lovely.
Should we go in? Let's go in.
Oh, God. Okay. You are very ambitious today.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's do it. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi.
They're all far too engaged to even notice us, which is a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, gymnastics centre learning, part of a programme of physical education that has 4 key parts. We have gymnastics, dance and athletics. Now, they cycle through the year, so at various different points, every child will either be involved in athletics or gymnastics or dance practice.
Okay.
We have different spaces for each of those disciplines, by the way. So gym is done in the gymnastics centre, dance is done in the dance studio, athletics is done in the sports hall, so separate spaces for separate disciplines.
Wow.
The other PE lesson is swimming, and we'll
Right.
see a little bit more of the swimming
Yes.
programme a little later.
I love that pool.
So that's
Yep.
gymnastics centre. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you, kids. Bye. Thank you.
So
okay.
immediately opposite the gymnastics centre, we do head into music. Music is a really big part of life at Shrewsbury, not just here, incidentally. For those of you that might know our sister school in the UK, music and performing arts is a really big part of life there too. And this is a music classroom, so one of your 2 music lessons each week would take place within a space like this. The other music lesson each week is a singing lesson.
Right.
Singing, like dining, is a real commitment to community. So it's about bringing people together. We spoke earlier on about the benefits of a very pretty campus are not necessarily outweighed by a commitment to developing good relationships.
Agreed.
And relationships really sit at the heart of this school. So we eat together, we dine together, we sing together,
Amazing.
we learn together. It's a really important part. Now, ordinarily, on any other day, you would have a music class happening at exactly this time in this space.
Okay.
But we have a Christmas concert tomorrow, so all of our music classes are actually currently happening in the auditorium.
Okay.
And we'll
That's right.
sweep down into the auditorium next and go and have a quick look at the children learning in preparation for that performance tomorrow
Perfect.
afternoon.
So I heard that Shrewsbury has offered an extensive range of extracurricular activities. May I know what kind of activities you have?
Sure. So we run ECAs, extracurricular activities.
Right, that's
they
it.
run at the end of the school day.
Okay.
And they're really an opportunity for parents to more personally select the engagements that their children enjoy. Now, most of the ECAs are represented in the school day too, but if your child really loves gymnastics, well, they can do more gymnastics after school as well.
Amazing. That's great.
If your child loves to perform, well, they'll do performance anyway, as you'll see, but if they want to do more of it, they can do it after school. We have academic opportunities too, so we actually teach a modern foreign language European in our ECA program, Spanish.
Oh, wow.
So if you did want to opt into some second, or in fact in that case it would be a third language for some of our students, they're very welcome to do that.
Okay.
So yes, academic, non-academic, sporting pursuits,
Right.
multimedia work, graphics work, all
Wow.
sorts of things.
Amazing. I should attend this school actually, right? Learn a bit of Spanish.
I'm sorry to say, but you're just too big.
Oh, thanks.
Primary school. I said
I'll
primary
fit
school
in.
earlier on.
I fit in, don't worry.
So this is the auditorium.
Right.
I don't know where our class is.
Yeah,
It
we
must
had
be
a-
backstage,
yeah,
I imagine.
okay.
So this is the auditorium. This is a 500-seater facility. Just under, you can see there are 2 music teachers, head of music there on the right, Mr. Kilpatrick, in the auditorium in preparation for a performance tomorrow evening.
No problem.
Now, of course, quite a beautiful facility, again designed and used by primary age children. This is not a university hall or lecture theatre.
Yeah.
It's a steeply raked seating structure, steeply raked so that whoever is on stage is able to communicate with everyone in the audience. So when I'm on stage on a Friday afternoon hosting assembly, we have our year 6s at the very back here, our oldest students. I could hold a personal conversation from the stage with a year 6 student, no need for a microphone or any sort of equipment or support. It's a very engaging experience, and of course from every seat you have an uninterrupted view of the performance or production going on. And what an amazing opportunity for our youngest children. Our 3 and 4-year-old children were on stage only last week as part of an early years carol concert or singing
lovely.
exhibition. And they were singing themselves and leading song among the audience as well.
Jingle
Lots of
bells?
parents. There was a jingle bells.
There was,
Yeah, you'd
as
have
always.
fit right in. You know the words to that one.
Yeah.
So that was good. So even our youngest children performing here on a stage like this is, of course, it's a huge privilege and a great opportunity for them to develop self-confidence, self-awareness, self-confidence, but also linguistic dexterity, a use of language which is creative and thoughtful and mindful of the audience. That's particularly useful, of course, for second and third language speakers, but a great opportunity for everyone to bolster self-esteem,
Yes.
good feeling about oneself. Look, the arrival of year 3.
Oh, hello, year 3.
So this is year 3 groups, so they're coming out now for their prep. So we've got a performance. In fact, it's tomorrow afternoon, and it involves every member of the school community, but each group in turn taking some time in the auditorium.
Very well behaved year 3.
Of course, very well behaved year 3. You would expect absolutely nothing. I would say
my son will be like that.
This is, I would say, an ordinarily behaved year 3.
Oh, good.
Yeah, of course, well behaved. How old is your son?
I have one in year 1.
Year 1.
No, I
year
don't.
1 age.
No, do I have? Yeah, year 1 I do. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's well remembered.
Yeah. I've got 3.
This is live, you know. Keep going. Your children might be watching this.
I've got one in year 3, one in reception, and one little baby. So yeah.
Oh,
it's
how old's the baby?
16 months old. So yeah.
Not far off mine.
Oh.
Mine's 20.
Oh, we should get them together.
We could get
Yeah.
in the pool.
Let's see. On the pool. So going into the swimming pool now. It's an indoor swimming pool. Just going to see some kids in action. There's 2 sides. There's the big side here for the older children, and on this side it's for the younger children.
Well, yeah, mostly younger, but of course anyone that is less confident in the water. So the children that are learning to float or put their head under for the first time, they spend their time in the smaller pool, at least for a while. So in some cases that means older, but of course most often it's the little ones. And then they graduate over to the pool behind us. The pool behind us at the moment, so this is a year 3 class swimming. So that's the usual schedule for a day like today.
And it's really nice and warm and hot in here.
Oh, on a December afternoon, this is the place to be, although maybe not for too long or we'll melt. But yeah, it is hot in here.
Yeah, it's nice.
Indoor heated swimming facility, so it means that we can swim with our children all year round. It's a big part of our PE programme. Now you'll also notice that these are small teaching groups. So one class, 1, 2, 3, 4 members of the coaching staff. We've also actually, incidentally, got a chap on the right there with a clipboard, Gary. Gary is one of the owners of Elite Swim. They're our swim partners. He's an ex-national team swimmer, ex-national team coach, ex-national team captain. And he and a partner have put together a programme of swimming that is exclusive to our school. So yes, you have a, 18-month-old, 16-month-old. My son swims here on a Saturday because they do infant swimming on Saturday morning. So you're very welcome to join if you
I'll have to come from the mid-levels.
Oh, it's a little journey. Well, 30 minutes, not too far. Not too far.
I know. I need
So we'll head on this way to go and speak to Sarah next.
Lovely and warm. I love the
It's a bit cooler around here now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I like nice and warm. Like it's like
actually, again, thinking about the design of campus, one of the intentions was always to embrace Hong Kong and its locality and its environment. I really like the change of season in Hong Kong. I really enjoy the hot and the cold. I actually enjoy the hot a little bit less, especially in the summer, but none, I quite like the shift across the year. And I really like the idea that within a school building there is space for children to enjoy that shift in climate. We're not looking to protect children from Hong Kong. Hong Kong is one of our greatest assets. It's a brilliant place to work and live.
Agreed.
So I want our students, I want our children to be very conscious of the world around them. And you'll notice that, well, technically we're now outside. We're covered, but we're outside. And this is our main staircase. Every single member of our community enters the building in the same way. That includes parents, children, staff. One entrance for everybody. And this is the staircase that I'm at every morning to greet staff and students, of course, as they arrive. We'll head on through to the admission centre now.
Okay, brilliant.
We can touch base with Sarah. Sarah's our admissions manager. She works to coordinate entry to the school, which is something that some of your viewers might be interested in, of course.
Great.
Hello,
so what time does it
Sarah, can we borrow
Hi,
you
Sarah.
to come with us?
Thank you,
Come
Sarah.
with us.
Sorry, you don't mind, do you?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Not
go
at
on,
all.
yeah.
Love a chin wag.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Right, so 4 seats.
Yeah.
Maybe Shay, if you take a seat here, Natasha, maybe over
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
I think that's my water already, so we don't want to be
I'll
lugging on that.
Yeah, because he's got a cold.
We've got to be fairly close to the microphone.
So do you
just
guys
so
watch it?
Maybe we'll shuffle around
Yeah.
a bit, shall we? That's a
Yeah,
good
okay,
idea.
that's a good idea. Yeah, sorry. Right.
Natasha, if you want a water, let us
Thank
know.
you. Thank you, thank you. Just get my questions ready. Do you mind just holding it for a second? Thank you. Okay. So, let me okay.
So Sarah's worked here for about a year, actually. In fact, it is. This is almost your anniversary, isn't it? And came to us about a year ago, and without meaning to embarrass you in front of a camera or an audience of people, has done a miraculous job in shifting admissions and it was a real privilege to work with her. So I'm glad that you got the chance to meet her today.
Yes, I'm really happy to. So if you just joined us, we've just had a live tour of the school from Principal Ben Keeling, and now we're going to do a short interview with the Director of Admissions, Sarah Bowler. Are you ready to start?
Sure. Before we do, we have one question.
Okay.
This is coming from David Boland. How many minutes per day? What Chinese language level should a parent expect from a student from P1 to P6 at the foundation level? And that came from David Boland. Thanks, David.
Who's going to answer this
I
one?
might be best placed. So no, we didn't bump into Hayes, our head of Chinese, on the tour, but that would have been useful, wouldn't it? So we teach approximately an hour a day, there or thereabouts. Actually, for younger students, all of our sessions are a little bit shorter because, of course, attention span among younger students is more vulnerable. Right. But on average, it's there or thereabouts an hour a day. Level, now, of course, it would very much depend upon whether you were entering into the foundation or the intermediate or the advanced programme.
Yes. Yeah.
We're, of course, not a bilingual school, and really the centred focus for the programme in every form is about confident communication. Right. So we're not fixated upon the stroke order of character construction, for example. We are far more interested in teaching children to be able to use the language. But even from a foundation level student, so someone who speaks no Chinese, they would have, of course, not fluency, but they would have enormous skill and a great ability to communicate, even from that base level of technically zero. And it's important to recognise too that even among foundation level students, they learn to read and write as well as speak and listen. Exactly. So yes, functionally, communicationally literate is the aim for that foundation group. Of course, for the advanced level group, aspiration grows quite significantly. They're already native speakers, and we are talking, of course, about Mandarin and simplified characters at this stage. But those students are then really looking at Chinese history, culture, political engagement, so on and so forth. So they're looking really at the depth of language and the development of language.
Okay. Great answer.
One more question.
Oh, very popular today.
All right. This came from Nikki. Thanks, Nikki. Can you tell us a bit more about the artwork that's seen all over the school?
Oh, good observation.
Good one, Nikki.
Tell us about the artwork. Well, I suppose we're a broad curriculum school. So we do spend, as I mentioned earlier on, that the curriculum is academically centred, but we do spend an awful lot of time and energy and investment, and we talk very positively and enthusiastically about the foundation level subjects that sit around that academic core. So thinking about, yes, of course, we've spoken about performing arts and Chinese language and physical education, but yes, art and design is a really big part of that. And that's another method of communication and an ability for our students to engage. We're being ushered closer together, aren't we, in the session?
Okay. So Sarah, how long does the application process take?
So we work, Natasha, with families on an individual basis. In general, from the time of application activation, generally it takes 2 to 3 weeks, there or thereabouts. But for example, we work with families for 2 to 3 months. If they're relocating and they're waiting on contractual confirmations or visas, it will obviously take slightly longer. We also work with families that they land in Hong Kong on a Saturday or Sunday and they need to have it completed by the following Friday.
Amazing.
So it is very much on an individual basis. We don't have an application deadline. We don't invite our families to attend a meeting in bulk. And we certainly don't offer in bulk. So it is very personalised to each and every family.
Okay. And what does the interview include?
Okay, so following the submission of all the application documentation, we invite every family to attend a meeting. And obviously that changes as to the age of the child. So we endeavour to meet every student and they meet with a teacher. Now for the younger ones that takes approximately 20 to 30 minutes and that is a play-based observation session. For some of our older students that looks like looking at their early literacy and numeracy. And for our older students that might look like an adaptive online computerized assessment. But every child meets a teacher. Great. The second half of that meeting is for parents to meet with either myself or my colleagues Katie or Elsa. And that is a mutual discussion to ensure that what parents want for their child, their priorities, their preferences for their children, we can provide.
Okay, great.
So it's just to make sure that it's a right fit.
Right.
But it is a meeting, it's not necessarily an interview.
Yeah.
We tend to
Very
shy away
relaxed.
from those words of interviews
Like the word
and interview prep.
Yeah.
It's just to make sure that what parents
That's
want,
nice.
we can provide them.
And that really helps, as a parent, you don't want your children to be pressurised into an interview,
No.
or anything like that.
No,
So,
and quite,
yeah.
Sometimes we'll invite families in twice.
yes, okay.
If a child has been anxious in the initial
Right.
engagement, come back in another time. It's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
That's great to know. And do you have a special needs programme or support?
We do offer support.
Sorry, do you have a special needs support? Sorry.
We have an individual needs coordinator and a very small individual needs team. If we can allocate resources to support a child, we will move to an offer.
Okay.
If we cannot, then we will not move to an offer.
Okay.
We're very transparent, we're very ethical, and I would like to think very professional in the entire school, but definitely making sure that we can provide what the child needs.
Okay, brilliant. And as a parent, should we apply from birth, or can you apply any time in the year? Like, how strict are you guys?
You can apply from birth if you wish.
Very keen. Yeah.
Don't need to.
Okay.
We recommend an application 12 months in advance of desired entry into the school.
Brilliant. So less pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you are looking at an August 2020 entry, for example, we have been scheduling assessments from September.
Okay.
And now, in the next couple of weeks, would be really wise to submit an application.
Okay.
So that we can schedule that meeting for January.
Okay, good to know. And do you give private tours, or do I just come to an open day? How can I come and visit?
All of the above.
Great.
So we host regular small group parent tours every Wednesday.
Great.
During term time from 10 till 11 o'clock.
Okay.
We also host Saturday weekend tours for parents who obviously work and can't make the weekday Wednesday. And we also host twilight tours. Where possible, from about 6 to 7 o'clock once a month, and all of those dates, I think up to February, are currently on our website.
Okay.
But of course, if parents cannot make any of those dates, of course, just reach out to the admissions department directly, and we will schedule a private tour.
Brilliant.
No problem in advance. Incidentally, the admissions department is open all over the Christmas period.
Oh, wow. Okay. No Christmas break for you?
No, Ben won't allow it.
What?
No, it's very true. We work. You're laughing about it, but no, we are. We're all here.
I'm really gullible, so I don't know what to believe right now.
But I think the idea that, particularly for international families, travelling families, those in and out of the region, the idea of shutting up shop over Christmas is pretty archaic. For some families, actually, it's a really great little window of time to when
You're actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. But many of our family, usually, busy school person, when do I go to the dentist? I do it in the school holidays.
Right.
When,
Exactly.
these jobs,
Yeah.
you often want to kind of bury them in the school holidays. And actually, we receive quite a lot of our applications and schedule quite a lot of assessments during the break, simply because it's convenient. It means it allows the parents, mum and dad, often to come along together. The window between Christmas and the New Year is actually very popular. So the idea that parents can nip in and, if they're in the region anyway, I mean, you wouldn't cancel a holiday for it. But if you're here already, it's quite a nice, tidy time to do it. So, no, we are genuinely here during the break.
Good to know.
The hardest working team in
I
Hong
was
Kong.
going to say, don't make me work over Christmas, please. So I think that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for having us today. We've had a really great time learning more about Shrewsbury and looking at your campus today. And thank you. And make sure you guys join on Friday, because we'll be doing a live tour of the AIA Carnival with the kids. So my kids will be there. Join us at 11 a.m. when we go live. Not sure if I'm looking forward to it, but let's see. And that's it.